Could somebody please make it make sense?
Hey everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture. I am your host, the Esoteric and Facetious, and this is A Pop of Culture, where I speak on pop culture, social justice, and the human experience from a Black, bisexual, millennial perspective. Everything, and I mean everything I say, should be taken with a grain of salt, as I'm simply a recent college grad with access to a recording device and the internet. With that being said, my youth shouldn't be your sole reason to critique my views unless it's truly relevant. If you disagree with anything I say, let's have a civil conversation in the comment section below. Today we are going to be talking about BET Presents The Encore Season 1, Episode 6. But before we get into that, I want to shout out my cover channel. I have a cover channel, Pop of Culture Sings, where I sing throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, pop music, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. So if you want to be down like Brandy, if you're down with the click, and if you're not down with my click RP Aliyah, then definitely feel free to check that channel out. Now let's get to the topic of this video. So we're going to be talking about 3 main events from this episode. The first event we're going to be talking about is the listening party. The second event we're going to be talking about is Aubrey's departure. And the third event we're going to be talking about is the twins' confrontation with 𝘎𝑘𝒂𝒕𝒄𝒉. So as we know, the 9 women, or 8 women if you don't count 𝘎𝑪, because 𝘎𝑪's quote-unquote the creative director, have been brought to this mansion by Carlos King to make an album, really an EP, a 5-song EP over 30 days. So they've had some conflict with people wanting to divide the group, people wanting to only have certain people on certain songs. There's been a lot of conflict because everybody wants to be a star, everyone wants to have their time in the spotlight, and when it comes to making business decisions that are the best for the group, everybody may not agree with that because it may not feel good. So that's what we've kind of been getting into in these last few episodes. But they're finally having to crack down and get things done because they are going to have this time where they're going to be presenting their music to professionals in the industry. And here's the thing that I feel like we have to emphasize with this. When you're working in the industry, you don't know what opportunities are going to come to you. Like, for example, one of the things they'll tell actors not to burn any bridges, or like performers. You never know who you're going to be working with. So like Felicia and Fallon, who knows where they're going to be 5 years from now? Who knows what music success they may have in the next 5 years? So if they perform in this little listening party with a bad attitude, or they say something slick to the wrong person, there may have been an opportunity. Let's say that somebody had a killer song and they needed some Black, strong female voices on it. Kind of like there was that Black Men United song with Usher and like a different Black male artist that happened in the 90s. What if there was an opportunity where they're like, this song could really put some people on, and they said something smart or slick to somebody, and they said, you were on this party on this show and you made me feel some type of way, so I don't want to put you on this song. So this listening party is a pretty big deal, even though, this is like a low-key show, it's a reality show. These people in the industry, outside of this show and them showing up to this listening party, they can have pull in the game, and they could really put these people on if they want to have some more success. So this is a big deal, because if they like the way somebody sings during this little listening party, they may call them after the show. You never know what could happen. So I feel like this is a bigger deal than what it seems. On the show, it's just like, oh, yep, we're going to have a little fun reunion with some of our ex-bandmates and music people. But I feel like this could be a moment for these people if they choose to utilize it correctly. So I'm hype. So they have the music party and the listening party, rather, and Ronnie DeVoe shows up and he gives Shamari these flowers and cards and candy and all this stuff. And I thought that was really sweet, because I do think sometimes it sucks when you have a birthday or an anniversary when you're on a show and you're filming, because then you kind of have to either, like they did, like have that FaceTime where you spend time together that way. But whatever the plans you had before, even though obviously this is a good move for Shamari's career, of course, they don't get to experience this anniversary the way they would have likely if she wasn't on the show. So it's a sacrifice, and I'm hoping it gives Shamari some good attention, and maybe, she gets a record deal or she gets a good song offered to her or whatever. But it was sweet to see him show up for her, make her feel all special inside. I thought that was really cute. We have Mila from 702 show up, which I thought was really great, because I'm going to have to watch the Unsung, but there's been a lot of talk about the group having a lot of issues between the people in the group, of course, because Mila was getting the spotlight primarily, and the other women, especially 𝘠𝙗𝙗, felt like she wasn't getting the shine that she deserved. So I thought it was really great that she showed up and said, I'm going to rep for y'all. I'm going to support y'all, like, with everything they'd been through. She didn't have to do that, but her showing up, I think, just was a really positive thing, because if you've been watching the show, 𝘠𝙗 and Irish have felt like they've been getting the short end of the stick on literally every aspect of the episode. So seeing Mila show up for them and support them, I feel like that probably made them feel like, hey, she actually does really care about us. She really does vibe with us. And, I feel like they probably felt some support, whereas throughout the house and with them not getting that much singing on the records, it was probably nice for them to have someone show up for them specifically. So I thought that was a good moment. Pam, she feels a little nervous because she said she kind of blocked people on social media. She hasn't really been interacting with them like she used to and stuff. And she's kind of nervous about how they're going to feel about it. And she also said she felt nervous about the listening party because she said total they had, some quality music. They were doing it good. And so she feels like she doesn't want them to have, she didn't say this, but I feel like she was implying, I don't want to be doing this podunk, crazy looking thing. And these people come up to me and be like, you left us for this? So I kind of got where Pam was coming from, because with all the arguing and stuff, they haven't really been able to get the music together like they might have if they had some better conflict resolution skills. So I get Pam being nervous going into this. And I also get Pam being nervous because that's the thing. I'm not somebody who, ghosts other people, in regards to friendship. But I've been ghosted on, and I know how it feels. So, I feel like that's a very awkward situation. With Pam, she didn't want to do Total because Total, I guess, felt like it conflicted with her beliefs and her belief system. So I feel like with her, the problem with Pam is she didn't give them that closure of, hey, I love y'all, but I can't do this anymore because of my beliefs and etc. She just blocked them, and she didn't really give them a chance to have that closure. So I definitely can see why this is going to be an awkward situation, because when you don't give people that chance to have that closure, when you don't sit people down and talk to them about how your actions are going to impact them, that can lead them to a dark place because they feel discarded. You can't treat people like that. So I feel like I get why Pam is nervous, because when you drop people and you ghost people, sometimes you have to do that for your mental health. But sometimes I feel like people choose to ghost people because it's easier than addressing whatever you want to address. Pam, I feel like if Pam really, because it seemed like that group member was a very close friend of her. So when you have to address some of these uncomfortable truths, because I feel like that person, sometimes your real friends are going to challenge you and say, well, Pam, what really brought about this religious change in you? What happened? Maybe they may have been able to say, Pam, well, it seems like you had some discomfort with this, or, you were starting to go this way. And now because you feel uncomfortable about that, I feel like with Pam needed, for whatever reason, to cut them off and do it in a way where it didn't give them contact and they didn't have any chance to really call her out or call out certain behaviors. So I feel like the reason why Pam seems pressed is, like I said, she wanted to cut them off and not have any type of pushback. But now, because they're coming back and they're coming to this listening party, she doesn't get that clean cut. Sometimes you get that clean cut if you're moving out of the state. Let's say you live on the East Coast and you move to the West Coast, you can cut that person off and never really worry about it. But sometimes you have these situations, for example, weddings or graduations or stuff, where you and somebody are forced into, or a listening party, and you're forced into this environment with this person, and you really do have to face the music in ways that you may have not had to if you were moving across country. So that's an interesting situation there. And then we have the other women. I don't know if there was, let's see, Shamari had the member from Blaque come, which was really cool, because it seemed like all the group members seemed to have so much love for the group members, and they were happy to see them succeed. Because sometimes you have those people who are haters, and who, to be fair, I feel like with this group, I heard Mila say that she got the call. So some of these people may have also got the call, and so they may have not really been hating, because they could have also been on the show themselves if they wanted to. So, but I liked the fact that they were so positive, because sometimes people in the industry, people want attention, people want to get success, people want to have their moment. So I feel like sometimes if you feel like your star is faded, sometimes people can really attack people when they have opportunities like this. But it seemed like Mila was happy for Irish and 𝘠𝙗. It seemed like the woman from Blaque was excited for Shamari to be doing her thing, and it seemed like the woman from Total was happy that Pam was doing her thing. So let's talk about the interactions between these group members. So Mila, she was very supportive of them, and she was very happy. She was happy they were getting the shine they deserved. She was happy they were getting their moment. And I appreciated that. And the funny part was 𝘠𝙗𝙣 and Irish started, because everyone, once they finished the performance, they went to go talk with everybody, like their own people on the side. You know, everybody, when you're at a party, everybody goes to their little corner, talks their shit, and that's what they were doing. So 𝘠𝙗𝙣 and Irish, once they get comfortable with her, and once Mila stops, praising them, and, she finishes her little piece of telling them, I'm so proud of you, they start saying, oh, well, oh, really? You like the music? Well, they aren't giving me and Irish any lines. They're not giving us respect. Frickin' Fracker starting it with us. And I thought it was funny because I was just like, 𝘠𝙗𝙣 and Irish, here's my thing. Even though this is a reality show, like this group, in my opinion, this is just really entertainment with music on the side. Here is my issue with 𝘠𝙗𝙣 and Irish. I feel like sometimes you have to fake the funk and provide a united front. Y'all could have just said, we appreciate the love, we're really just trying to, do our best, and we're really just happy about this project. I feel like they should have did that rather than, oh, frickin' Frack are doing this, because I just feel like that was unprofessional. Y'all need to provide a united front. Like, I feel like that cheapened the image of the group. Whatever idea 𝘠𝙗𝙣 had of, oh, these empowering Black women who are from the 90s who are still fighting for their chance, they're fighting for their moment, whatever image she had of that was shattered immediately once 𝘠𝙗𝙣 and Irish started talking their mess. And I get sometimes it is annoying when people are, not giving you the opportunity you deserve. And sometimes when you have that person who shows up for you, for example, like if you're in the army or the military or something like that, or you're like in one of those high control groups, like what are they called? Like where Bad Baby went, like those detention centers. When you get somebody from the outside, or even if you're like in jail or prison, when you're in a place where you don't really have that much contact with the outside world, and you get somebody who, for better or worse, like them and how they've had their times with Mila, but Mila is somebody they're close to, I guess. When I mean like they're close to, I mean like they know her and they feel like obviously they felt comfortable sharing some of their truth and some of the stuff that's going on. So them having a person that they can talk to, they feel like they can trust, and who they can air their grievances with. I got where that was coming from, but I did still feel like these other women in the group, y'all need to provide a united front with this album coming out. Like, at least pretend you like each other until after the show. You know what I mean? Then we have Pam's interaction with the woman from Total. Total's a little bit before my time, so I apologize for not knowing people's names. So she basically calls out Pam for ghosting her and saying, hey, we would have supported you. Like, she was pretty much saying, we would have still supported you. Like, even no Total, I'm still your friend. I'm still down for you. And I feel that. Like I said, I've definitely experienced, like, kind of what this group member experienced, where, my thing is, sometimes, friendships change, friendships evolve, and, like, connections with people change. So sometimes, like, I feel like as a friend, sometimes you just want to be down for the ride. And the member from Total, she seemed like she was down for Pam and supporting Pam, even if they're no longer group members, even if they're just friends who just call each other whenever they want a good laugh, or, whenever they want some comfort, want a friend to talk to. And I feel like Pam was just being very avoidant. And that's my thing with Pam. I think Pam, I don't know what it is. I think with Pam, I feel like with Pam, from what she's described, she was living a life where she may have been doing some behavior that she deemed like inappropriate, like drugs or drinking or things of that sort. And I feel like she tied that also. So here's the thing. How do I put this? Sometimes there's people who are queer identified or like attracted to the same sex and or gender. And what happens is they have things going on. They have the fact they're attracted to people of the same gender, but they also have toxic behaviors, whether it be gambling, whether it be drinking, whether it be drugs. And here's the problem. They decide, I want to do better with my life. I want to stop doing the things I used to do that are causing me harm or pain or etc. And I'm going to do better. But here's the issue with what they do. They end up not only trying to do away with the toxic behavior, which is the gambling, the stealing, the drugs and drinking or whatever, they also try to do away with their queerness. And the problem is their queerness wasn't the issue. Your gambling or drugs or drinking was your issue. And so these people will try to fix the problem by taking away access to the queerness and, ignoring that and trying to push that away. And I feel as long as Pam is not truthful with herself, and here's what Pam gives me. Pam gives me, there's certain parts of me that may have been problematic, or activities I was doing that were problematic, but now I'm trying to fix that by putting this identity of Christ over me and this identity of Christianity over me. And there's nothing wrong with being religious, but I feel like with Pam, I feel like there's nothing wrong with being Christian, but like, you should also have your own personal identity and interest. So if you like singing, you can sing and be Christian. You can, and some people may find this controversial, but like, Pam could be attracted to women and be Christian. I feel like with Pam, she's trying to throw who she was before she was quote unquote saved out in the trash, and she's just trying to be this idealized Christian woman. And the problem is, she could have a relationship with these women from Total, even just if it's a non-musical relationship. She could even have, like, they could have even changed their music. Like, I feel like with Pam, it's all or nothing. That's why she can't even be touched by other women, because she's like, everything that isn't of this book and of this religion has to be thrown out. So I feel like that's the problem with Pam. Pam isn't really figuring out who Pam is. Pam is just kind of putting on this mask of Christianity. And here's let me reiterate this. You can be a Christian, you can love God, and you can be you. But I feel like that comes from accepting who you are as a person, and also like not just trying to God everything. Like, there's a difference between I love God and I'm also like a person with my own dynamics and beliefs and stuff. Like, versus you just putting the identity of what you feel an idealized Christian is. There's a difference. But with Pam, her and the women talk, and they kind of hash it out. And I'm glad the woman was really able to, because sometimes when you're at a listening party or something like that, when you haven't seen somebody in a while, you kind of do this thing where you're like, oh, I'm just going to play nice. I'm just going to be like, how are your kids? How's the house? You know, you're just going to play on that nice level. But I feel like with her, she just kind of said, you know me, we've been through a lot of stuff, so I'm going to just start and keep it 100. You know that you've been dogging us, and you know that you've blocked us on social media, and you know that you've kind of been doing some things that are hurtful to us. I like that she was being real, and she stood in her vulnerability and said, like, hey, some of the stuff you did was harmful to me. It caused me pain. Because people won't do that. People will just kind of pretend that everything's okay when it's not. So I was very grateful that she did that. And it seemed like they had a moment where Pam, she kind of took that religious mask off and said, hey, I know you got hurt, but I was just trying to do what I thought was best for me at the time. I appreciated that, because I'm not saying that Pam has to go all the way to the end of where her healing is, because it seems like she's not ready for that. But I feel like with Pam, she at least kind of acknowledged the pain and kind of just tried to make amends in the way that she saw fit. So I appreciated that. That was a moment of realness I needed for the show, because the show just seems like it's so drama-filled, and this was just a human moment. I really appreciated that. Next, we have Aubrey talking to one of the producers and kind of complaining to him. Throughout the listening party, which I'll get to, Aubrey was complaining the whole time and kind of talking about how, oh my gosh, this is so unprofessional, this is so annoying, this, that, and the third. And for me, I had mixed feelings about it, because I did feel like, for me, I'm the type where I want any opportunity I have to reflect the best light of me. I'm very aware of, what I'm putting on social media, what I'm putting onto YouTube, because I want to try to, make opportunities out of the platforms that I build. So here's my thing. I kind of feel like with the listening party, I got what the producers wanting from them and the family and friends or whatever. During the listening party, they start playing the music, and then they are stopped by the producers who say, well, we want y'all to sell us a song, and we want y'all to perform the song to us. Don't just sit there. And I got that, because obviously it's an album, it's a record. Like, I feel like it took energy and it took patience and all this stuff. It's a labor of love. So I want to feel that labor of love. I don't want you to just play the music for me. And when y'all are there and you could perform it and give me that energy, I got that. But I feel like the issue I had was, I'm somebody, and I tweeted this out, I live tweet the show, so definitely follow me if you want to enjoy that. But one of the issues I had with that, with them performing, was, like I said, I'm either live singing or we're listening to the record. It can be low energy when you're just listening to the record. But also, I feel like sometimes, let's just sit down and listen to what they recorded. I kind of felt like we could have did that. But I feel like with the issue was with the big pool and the big kind of setup they had over there, I didn't feel like it was necessarily like a venue that I would have liked for listening. It was sunny outside. It looked like it looked like a relatively warm day. It was beautiful outside, so I got why they wanted to have more of a concert type of performance vibe. But I feel like they should have thought about that beforehand, because I feel like they could have put them in a venue, like a nice little bar. Like, I've seen that on some reality shows where they'll have a listening party. It'll be kind of at a bar or like a restaurant, like a nicer restaurant, and they'll have everybody kind of sat down and they'll have the music playing and stuff like that. I feel like, and they can have the artist kind of, in the center talking about, hey, this is where I thought of this song when I was, in the shower, or this song, me and Missy collaborated on this song, Missy, she sent me this song, and when I heard it, I knew that I loved it. And I feel like they could have had them like sitting in a circle, sitting at a bar, sitting at a venue. But I feel like the whole open kind of beach mansion vibe that they had, or pool mansion vibe, did kind of offer up like a performance type of thing where it wasn't necessarily like an intimate venue. So we have some of the women get up, but since this wasn't prepared, they're not singing live. They're just kind of singing along with the track. And of course, they didn't really plan choreography either, so it's kind of looking a little clunky. But since they're like kind of friends and family and some producers, it didn't really feel like the worst thing ever, because it's not like this was them auditioning to be signed to a label. It's just more like, okay, here's some people in the industry. They're going to watch it, give you a little feedback here and there. It didn't seem like that serious of an event. So I got them having fun and just kind of vibing it out and enjoying themselves. But I also got Aubrey's concern. But to be real, I'm going to be frank with y'all and say I low-key feel like Aubrey shouldn't have signed up for this show, because it seems like Aubrey wanted something way more serious. Aubrey's trying to, it appears, really grow her music career back and really gain a presence and really grow. And my issue is, I feel like with this show, it wasn't really indicated how serious they were going to be about things. And honestly, I feel like they maybe should have not made these people audition, but they should have made these people show them, hey, we're going to send y'all a routine. We're going to send y'all a song to sing, and we're going to need 16 bars or 32 bars. Because here's my issue. I feel like the people were not communicated the same thing. So some people, I feel like 𝘎𝙗𝙣 and Irish, who knew they had mediocre vocal ability and dancing ability, signed up for this show for an opportunity to, be back in the spotlight and make some music. And I feel like people like Aubrey, it appears Aubrey really wants an opportunity and she wants to be taken seriously. And I get that. Sometimes you don't want to be mediocre. You don't want to be talent show. You want to be top of the Billboard 200, top of the Billboard Hot 100. And sometimes I feel like when you have those expectations, you need to do stuff on your own. And I feel like with Aubrey, I don't know what she wanted from the show, but it's clear she wanted something better musically. And I think it's not her fault that she didn't realize that coming onto the show. And I guess now we're going to get to Aubrey leaving. It's very apparent to me, once I saw the listening party and once I saw them just fighting and all the drama, slowly but surely throughout the show, it became apparent to me that this wasn't really going to be that music. This wasn't going to be a record that I was going to, put up on my wall, like a vinyl record I'm going to put up on my wall and that we're going to talk about decades from now as a legendary R&B album. But I feel like with Aubrey, I feel like at least felt like this was going to be a solid body of work. I'm not saying it's not going to be a solid body of work, but I feel like Aubrey, her expectations and what she wanted to bring professionally and what she wanted to do collaboratively professionally was not being met, so I don't blame her for leaving. I do feel like she could have played it up a little bit nicer while she was out there with the rest of the group, just to save face. But at the same time, I did feel like these women, they wanted to they were saying Aubrey needs to put up a good face, but y'all have been being uncooperative throughout the process. So my thing is, it's y'all can't be wanting her to get down with the clique and be down with y'all. Y'all haven't been facilitating an environment that's conducive to her being a part of the group. It seems like y'all want her to hop in and play nice, but y'all haven't been making the environment where she would want to play nice. Overall, I enjoyed the listening party, but it felt a little unprofessional. I feel like for future seasons, if you're listening to this Carlos King, I think listening parties need to be in an intimate listening environment. So a bar, let's say a popular Black-owned business or a bar, something like that. I feel like that would have been a place for a listening party. Either do that or do a live performance. But I feel like with R&B music and all the layering and ad-libs and harmonies, unless they were going to do backing vocals and then sing over it, I feel like a listening party at an intimate session would have been better. I like the fact that they had these reunions between the group members. I thought that that was sweet. And I thought it was just nice to see these Black women kind of reconciling. Because sometimes I feel like on social media, there can be, and even like within music conversations and stuff, it's always who's better than who. Destiny's Child 3 or Destiny's Child 4 with the original group members. Or, oh, Beyonce's better than Aaliyah, Aaliyah's better than Beyonce. So seeing Black women in music really being honest and collaborating with each other and like supporting each other, at least when it came to like them and the group members just supporting each other and saying like, hey, I'm like them showing up to the show and them really praising them and giving them love. I love seeing that because sometimes I feel like it's so easy for people to want to pit Black women against each other. I will say I think Aubrey could have been more of a team player, but the issue I have is I feel like some of the other women, and obviously I wasn't there on the show and they talked a lot about editing and mixing stuff up, but my thing is, y'all are saying Aubrey should have been a team player, and yes, other people were there, but some of y'all were not team players when it came to distributing the lines of the songs or producing the songs and stuff like that. And obviously there was constraints and there was time constraints and other things that were in the mix. So some of the people like the twins, I think the twins were probably doing the best they could, but I just feel like they weren't hearing Aubrey out when she was saying she wanted like a club banger. And I feel like that's one of the problems with the twins. Even though the twins, I feel like, are doing the best they can and they're doing good work, I feel like they didn't hear Aubrey out. And because there wasn't an authority figure, there was the queen, but the queen, in my opinion, didn't really, throughout the show, have that much power. Like, where I feel like they should have said something like, the queen's word is law. Where, like, okay, there's some backing to it. Because otherwise, the queen, like I said, and as Lamisha said, it's just a glorified title. So, like I said, I don't blame Aubrey for leaving. But some people were trying to say, oh, well, if Aubrey had reached out to them and told them, hey, like, I'm really considering leaving, that they would have listened to her. And I don't know, because that's my thing. I feel like the people, she left before and came back. And so I feel like with Aubrey, I feel like she tried to say her piece. She was yelling so many times trying to get her words in and trying to get the people to pay attention to her. So I don't think Aubrey's a victim, but I do think that Aubrey, they could have given her more time and they could have listened to her more. I feel like people, they didn't really take her seriously. And I don't know if it's because she's white. I don't know if it's because she started the whole divisive behavior thing. I don't know what it was. And some of it was her probably going MIA for those 2 days and also just being lazy that other time. But some of them were also being lazy too. So I feel like Aubrey did somewhat shoot herself in the foot when it came to wanting to be taken seriously because she wasn't always showing up and doing what she needed to do. But some of the other people weren't doing what they needed to do. So I feel like that's kind of a hard thing to really determine who was right and who was wrong. But anyways, they have to, because Aubrey's left, they have to re-record stuff in the studio. So they're re-recording different lines and tracks that Aubrey was on. Honestly, Aubrey's vocals, in my opinion, are stronger than Lamisha and Irish, so I didn't feel like they had to re-record them. But I get she left the group. They don't want her to be on the project anymore. That was funny, though. I feel like I saw them jumping to record quicker than they did in other situations. And I haven't been there for 30 days, so I don't know what happened. But it just seemed like now that Aubrey's gone, y'all are jumping to be in the studio to kind of spite her. But it's like y'all weren't jumping in the studio when she wanted a club banger. But we'll get back to what I was saying. There's this conflict between Cosine and one of the twins where before they'd asked for the vocal stuff so that they could, and I'm not a producer, they wanted I think it was the voice stems, or like they wanted the stems so they could work on the music. So they reached out to him because he didn't leave them there, which I thought was dumb because obviously the twins also do work on the vocals and they do work with the producing and stuff. So I feel like him leaving it there or not leaving it there could have been an honest mistake. But if you know that they've been putting work in, you should know that obviously the work continues after you're gone. So I did feel like it was a little shady of him to not leave the stuff there, but it may have been a genuine accident. But they reached out to him, and I don't know if he sent it. I don't know if he sent it. He may have tried to send it or whatever, but he didn't leave it for them. But now, later on, now that they're trying to re-record the song, he has a version of the song, they have a version of the song, and the other women liked their version of the song better. So he's playing their version of the song, he cuts it off, and the twin is offended because she obviously put a lot of work into the song. So he says, oh, that's not the wrong one. So she gets angry with him, and she kind of does start cursing at him, which wasn't necessarily the most mature reaction. I'll give her that. She wasn't necessarily being the most mature person. She was just kind of going at it with him, which she didn't necessarily need to do. But here's the thing. 𝘂𝒨 was calling her things like shorty and little kid and child, like things of that sort that kind of made it where obviously the woman is in her 30s and she's established as a songwriter and producer just like you. Maybe not as established, but she's also had some skin in the game as well. He is kind of calling her out of her name and demeaning her, and I'm not really feeling that. But so here's the thing. I do think that it was not communicated well that they had another version of the song that they wanted to use. And I feel like 𝘂𝒨 was kind of being shady by saying, throw it off, that she's dancing to it and she's enjoying it. So here's my thing. I think that both of the versions of the song had their merits. But I think with it being a group, of course, whatever they want as the group should be the song because they're going to be the ones who are performing it. Now, if there were some huge issues with the twins' version of the song, then I understand 𝘂𝒨 as a producer himself and as the producer is being paid to produce. I see him stepping up and saying, hey, there are certain elements of the song that need to be fine-tuned. I appreciate what y'all are trying to do. Let's make it the best song that we can make it. But it seemed like with 𝘂𝒨, he kind of was just like, here's the problem with the show. Because the show does have these songwriters and or producers who are being paid to songwrite and produce, but because they're not being paid to be there every single day, there is this conflict of interest where the twins who are there day in and day out are going to want to help the project be done because they want, if their names are going to be on this, they want this project to be quality. So I feel like if they're going to produce this show and like make this show for another season and they're going to have a new group of people come in, you either need to make it where these producers are staying at a hotel or like staying very close where they can come in any day and work on the tracks. Or you need to pick people like the twins and give them some form of authority over the group without people feeling like they're being shut down like Lamisha. My issue with the show at this point is I feel the twins are basically being forced to songwrite and produce because the producers are not there enough, it appears, to make a solid project. And that's causing conflict within the group because the twin sound isn't everybody else's sound, but because the songwriters and producers aren't coming in enough and giving them enough music, it seems, it's inevitably going to be the twin sound because they're the only ones who are showing up consistently enough to make music. I don't think 𝘂𝒨 was wrong for wanting his song to be played because, of course, he's the one who's being paid as the producer for the show. But like I said, because he's not being there day in and day out, the twins are going to work on stuff. And sometimes their stuff is going to be good and it's going to be stuff that the other women like. So I wish that Carlos or Todd, like Carlos, he seems to be the showrunner. He's the producer, and Todd Tucker's also involved. So I guess my problem is there are so many issues on the show where I feel like the higher ups should have stepped in and said something. But because it's a reality TV show and it's about drama, I feel like that's why that's not happening. Someone should have stepped in and said, okay, the twins, because we're only paying y'all for 1 day a week, the twins work because they're the ones who are making the most effort, is we're going to honor that the twins are here every day and y'all can fine-tune what the twins are doing, but we're not going to, even though we paid you to be the producers and songwriters, because y'all are not here every single day and they are the ones filling in the gaps, we're going to go with what they want and then y'all can fine-tune it, but we're not going to just have you come in here with your own version and give them an attitude. So in regards to the 𝘂𝒨 situation, I feel there was wrong on both ends. I feel like the twin coming at him and cursing when he was being relatively calm was a little too much. But I also feel like 𝘂𝒨 was wrong with some of the way he was calling them like shorty and, kid, and girl, little woman. Like some of the things he was saying were demeaning to them. And I feel like he was trying to lessen them or make them small. And I'm glad that Keely and them were calling that out. But at the same time, I did feel like they were coming on strong. But I feel like part of the reason why they were coming on so strong is because none of the other women were defending them. All the women were jamming to the twins' version of the song, but the second that 𝘂𝒨 comes in there and says, oh, this is not the right version, it's literally the twins versus 𝘂𝒨, who is a man. I feel like if Lamisha or Pam or somebody spoke up and said, hey, we like this version better, and it's not just the twins, it's us too. Because I feel like the issue that happened was it turned into a producer versus producer thing versus just the group likes the song better and we would prefer to sing it. And I feel like that's why 𝘎𝑗 was upset. And he didn't look upset. Like, he wasn't, like, obviously, you know, overtly emotional. He was still keeping a relatively calm tone with the women. But I feel like the reason why he was pressed is because I feel like he was feeling invalidated in his role as a producer with the twins coming up with their own version of the song and telling him, you know, oh, this is the right version of the song. Because obviously he put time and energy and effort into his version of the song. But like I said, the show is at fault, in my opinion, because the show isn't giving the producers enough time to make the songs to the group and their liking. So now the twins have to fill in the gaps, but because the twins are filling in the gaps, that's making the producers feel like they're not being valued. So I feel like that's the issue. They need to create a happy medium where the twins are able to work on the records while also, like, giving 𝘎𝑗 some form of input where he feels like his contributions and his skills are being valued. I feel like that's all that needs to happen. The twins, of course, run off and they're like, oh, well, you know, screw the records and stuff like that. And, you know, y'all can just do your own thing. And like I said, I'm tired of this behavior from the twins. Even though I do feel like 𝘎𝑗 was kind of talking down to the twin, at the same time, I do feel like this whole, I'm not for empty threats. I said that last episode. If you're not going to do the music, don't do the music. But I feel like they do that so they can be the savior. Oh, well, do your own music then. You know that these women can't write or can't write on a timely manner. You know these women can't write and produce music like y'all can. So don't do this whole thing of, oh, well, do the record. I liked them saying do the record at 𝘠𝐺𝑚𝑒𝑠ℎ𝑎 because 𝘠𝐺𝑚𝑒ℎ𝑎 was diminishing their craft. But when you're having a conflict, throwing up the do the record thing doesn't work as well because these people want to work and they want to do the work. They just aren't agreeing with you. And them not agreeing with you doesn't mean they don't want to do the record. It just means that they're not agreeing with you in this one particular moment, in this one particular topic. So those are my thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Love y'all. Bye-bye. See y'all in the next one. Share your thoughts below. Like this video if you like this video. If you made it to this point in the video, comment a thumbs up emoji below or a still here if you are still here. Subscribe if you want to see more, and make sure to hit that bell so you're the first to know when I upload new content. I upload new content every week. And if you're enjoying yourself, and why wouldn't you be enjoying yourself? To the left, there's a playlist of all my video essay podcasts. I have 24 and counting. In the center is a button to subscribe if you just haven't had a chance to subscribe and you would like to. And to the right is a playlist of all of my covers and parodies. So if you are wanting to check those out, feel free to do so. And if you want to support me, if you want to support the show, first and foremost, a non-financial way you can support is just through sharing this video. I can make the thumbnails, I can, you know, make the titles, I can do the tags and do keyword research. One of the best ways that I can grow my brand is through y'all sharing this content with other people who like this type of content, because I nor you can control the algorithm, but I can control the quality of the content I make, and y'all can, if you enjoy the content, share with people who can like it, so that way, you know, if y'all are feeling it, it's getting put out there, whether, you know, the algorithm favors it or not. Somebody's gonna see it because you resonated with it and you resonated with me, and now you're sharing it with other people. So if that's a non-financial way you can support the channel, and if you do want to support the channel financially, my Cash App is linked in the description of this video. You know, I'm trying to, you know, upgrade my production quality and just, you know, keep growing and expanding and, you know, doing bigger and better. So if you want to help and support that vision, feel free to do so. All those who donate to the channel will be featured in the credits of all of my videos on both of my channels. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye. See you next time.